Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Misha Maris. I'm Community Engagement Coordinator. And before we get too far along here, I did want to remind everybody that we do record our partner meetings so that they're available for folks to watch after the fact. So we do like to let everybody know that so that you're aware that the meeting is being recorded. We also have real-time captions. You'll notice there's some information for that in chat and ASL interpretation. I do have an announcement I'd like to share with everybody, which is why there is a screen share going on. It doesn't look the way that it's supposed to look. Did people see an email up on their side? Yes, okay, it doesn't have that fancy little frame around it, so I wasn't sure if it was showing. Thank you for nodding. We are going to be doing something new. I had talked about this previously. I've tried a few different things to be able to manage the size of the contact list for our partner calls. Right now, we've got about 400 people who receive emails and information updates about self-sufficiency updates and with regards to this call. And the current system is having issues. We're having Outlook is getting confused and it will freeze and not email everybody, and there's a lot of bounce backs and all sorts of fun stuff. So what I have learned is that there's a listserv option through DAS where I can easily input everyone, and this should clear up a lot of the errors and things that are happening right now. I do think there are some folks who have asked to be a part of this meeting who may not have received the invite, who may not be receiving emails when I send them out because of the fact there's some errors and things going on. So this listserv is going to simplify things, and I just wanted to walk you through it really quick. So the first thing I wanted to share, this email that's up right now, you're going to receive an email like this. It does not look very friendly, but it is an auto-generated email from the listserv that you will receive letting you know that you have been added. I have not added anybody yet. I wanted to be able to chat with you about that before I made that update. But later this week, I will be adding you all to that, and you'll receive this email. The nice thing about this listserv is that if for some reason you determine that you don't need to be receiving emails from the listserv any longer, you can actually unsubscribe yourself. You, of course, can reach out to me and I can take care of that as well. But you can take care of that simply by clicking unsubscribe. You can also forward the listserv on to others if you'd like them to join, if you feel like this is a great meeting for them to attend. So I want to throw that out there. I do want to assure you that what you will receive from me will be much more friendly. This is an example of the listserv for the Food Partners email. It came out through the listserv, so you can see it's coming from Food Program Partners, which is the name of the listserv. For this listserv, it'll be SSP Program Partners. But the email body itself looks just like what you've received from me before. There'll still be attachments, and my contact information will still be at the bottom. So if you need to reach out to me and speak with me directly, you can click right on my email at the bottom of the email that is shared with you. You will not be able to reply back to the listserv. The listserv is really only for outgoing messages. So you don't have to worry about others getting a hold of the listserv and sending a bunch of messaging out. It'll really just be for outgoing messages for the purposes of this call and for updates. So wanted to make sure that you are all aware of those changes. Because of that, what's going to happen, and I know this is really hard on your end, because when I send an invite out through Outlook, when I send a reoccurring invite, it doesn't come through as one email for you. It comes through as multiple emails for each month. You get an individual email, and so that does fill your box up sometimes, and I do apologize for that. What I will need to do to clear out all of the errors, I tried this once and it didn't work. That's why we're doing the listserv. I'm going to have to delete the email or the invitation for this meeting. The meeting is not canceled. The link has not changed, but I am going to delete the Outlook invitation, and I will resend it using the listserv email. So you'll see it deleted and then you'll see another email sent so that you can get it right back onto your calendar. And like I said, the link itself is not going to change. The times are not going to change, just clearing out errors so that everybody who would like to be a part is actually receiving the information that they need to receive. So I hope you don't mind. It may cause a few extra emails for you, but it will make things much better in the long run. So up first today, we have a partner introduction. Is Connie here? Connie Hunter. I'm surfing through the names to see if I see them. All right, I don't see Connie here, and I want to make the most of our time. So if Connie enters a little bit late, we will squeeze that introduction in a little bit later in the meeting. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next thing that is on our agenda, and that is a presentation from the Domestic Violence Program. Is Kirsten on?
No, Kirsten is not here today, but I am here and ready to talk about Survivor Investment Partnership.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Marcy.
Thank you. I will, is it okay if I share my screen and walk through a PowerPoint?
Absolutely.
I just have to figure out how to share screen. There we go. Okay, can you let me know if you see an overview of Survivor Investment Partnership?
I do. I also see the list of slides along the side, so it's not in presentation mode, if that makes a difference to you.
It doesn't make a difference to me if it's okay with everybody else. I'm assuming it is. Okay. Okay, so my name is Marcy DeGuire, and I am part of the Survivor Investment Partnership team. We are pretty new. Today, I'm going to give just a brief overview, and if there's any questions throughout the presentation, there's an opportunity at the end to go ahead and ask questions. Okay, so we will skip down to the overview of Survivor Investment Partnership. So this was developed by a work group with several entities invited to the table, and a few of those were the Governor's Office, the 9 Tribes of Oregon, culturally specific domestic violence and sexual assault providers, and partner DVSA providers statewide. One of the main focuses on this is that tribes and culturally specific organizations know their communities best, and survivors, they know what they need best, and their community probably can serve them better than what we know. It was brought forward as part of the 21-23 legislation session, and we were awarded $10 million for this program. As you can see with these 3 bullets, the funding is intended to do a lot more than just these 3 bullets, but give tribes and organizations autonomy on how they run their DVSA programs. It's to increase accessibility and meaningful financial support for survivors and provide additional resources for tribes and DVSA providers. There are 3 avenues that we are looking at to distribute these funds. One is the intergovernmental agreements with each of the 9 tribes of Oregon, grant opportunities for culturally specific providers, which will be 8 will be awarded the opportunity, as well as survivor investment dollars awarded to co-located advocacy agencies. Currently, there's an RFG out for this for the grant opportunity with the culturally specific providers, and I will talk about that in just a second. So the overview of the budget, with the $10 million that we received, 9 million, or I'm sorry, 10 million. This is the breakout. The 9 tribes of Oregon will receive 4.1 million, and that's total of the 9. Culturally specific providers, 4.4. Co-located, 1 million, and then the remainder 500,000 is for ODHS positions to implement and run this program. Included in these awarded grants will be direct support services to survivors, full-time staff, full-time equivalent staff. It says 2 here, and that is for the culturally specific providers. The tribes received 1 staff in the agreements. Right here is the allowable uses of funds, and I want to focus in on the last 4 words, but not limited to. These are just some of the options that can be used for these funds, and so many more. The funds are general funds, so we don't have the requirements that TANF might have, the PADVS requirements. So that makes it a lot more flexible. One thing that we have to do on these grants and intergovernmental agreements is we have to tie the services back to the purpose of the policy option package and the outcomes as well. So in our RFGA, the request for grant applications, there's a few questions in there that will ask how are you going to tie the funds to meet one of these outcomes or all of these outcomes. Timeline and ongoing funding. Survivor Investment Partnership, which we refer to as SIP, is intended to be ongoing. It is written in the 23-25 budget, but of course we know we can't guarantee until that budget is signed. So we are moving forward, hoping that it will be signed for the 21 or 23-25 biennium. And our hope also is that there will be a little bit of inflation in there. We will most likely have to do amendments for inflation increases. Okay, that was a pretty quick overview of what SIP is. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
I don't see any questions in chat so far.
Okay, well, I'm welcome to receiving any emails or messages if you have questions. I will stop sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Again, if anyone has any questions, do feel free to speak up. We want this to be interactive, or you can put it into the chat and we'll make sure that we address any questions that might come up too. So I just want to throw that out there. I don't see that Connie has entered the meeting, but I'll just double check in case I missed her. Connie, are you here? All right. Well, next on our agenda, and I know that some of you were probably looking forward to this update, but we are going to have to skip it, actually. James was going to speak on the mobile application that has been in the works for the One System. We're going to do that update next month. There will be an update given for OAP, and that will be a piece of it. James is he's out right now with some family stuff going on. So he is unavailable. I see a question just popped in. All right, so there is a question from Farron in the chat about our TADVS programs. I have previously been told that DHS-DV grants are only open to DV survivors with children. Is that the case also for the funding that you just described? Do you want to speak to that piece before we move on to the next?
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank
so
you.
the SIP funding will be, it's not distributed by ODHS staff. It'll be partner. ODHS it's almost like a quote pass-through agency for these funds, and the criteria is very different. It's those that don't qualify for TADVS are great candidates. We are looking to focus on tribal members, culturally specific populations, single adults with no dependents. Does that answer your question? Okay.
So just to clarify for others, if they are working with somebody who might not qualify for the TADVS program through ODHS, that they should reach out to their local DVSA, domestic violence organization, and apply that direction.
So the funds have not been dispersed yet to the organizations. The culturally specific providers we have not awarded yet. The RFGA process is ongoing until it'll I'm going to say close, but open is the term from OCMP. The period that you can apply is April 26th would be the last day. The funds are meant to be dispersed no later than June 30th. You will have up to 1 year to spend those funds down, because we know obviously you're not going to be able to spend funds on June 30th for June 30th. So any other questions?
So the funds will be available once they've been dispersed, and if there's an organization who's interested in applying, they need to do so by the 26th.
Yes, Oregon buys, and Sharon has her hand up. She is running that for us.
Yeah, I put my information into the chat. I am the sole point of contact for this RFGA, so all questions should be addressed to me. My email address is sharon.m.landis@odhsoha.oregon.gov. Or you can call me at 971-208-4151. And once again, I just wanted to point out, I am the sole point of contact for this RFGA while it's open.
The other thing that I will add is our team is working on communication. So we will have some communication on when the funds are available, and when and how, or what the role is for DHS staff, ODHS staff. We're not quite there yet, but we will have more to come.
Thank you. If you have any messaging that you would like to go out with our follow-up email that'll go out next week from this meeting, please send it my way so that I can include it, so that folks have that information.
Perfect. I think we'll be able to do that.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? All right. Is Jen from our Child Care Pro program, is she here? We're ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I'm
You're here. Awesome. you have a little more time if you want to speak a little bit longer, because we are ahead of schedule, but the floor is yours.
Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen. Which one was I going to share first? Hold on a second. We were right over here. Okay. And are you all able to see that just yet?
I see it.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. I'm Jen Eras with the ODHS Child Care Policy Program. And as of July 1st, I will be Jen Eras of the DELC Child Care Program. And so today I was just sharing another one of the steps that we've taken in the transition over to DELC and some of the changes that are happening with the employment-related daycare program. So what I'm sharing here, this is just a page from a PowerPoint that I've been sharing with our leadership team and eligibility staff, but just kind of outlining what the timeline is for some of the changes that are happening to the childcare programs in general. So during the 2021 legislative session, House Bill 3073 passed, and that put a lot of things in motion. So I'm sharing this just to show some of the steps on where we've been already. In January, we had some pretty major expansions to the ERDC program happen. The two notable things were covering non-working students, which the employment-related daycare program had not done in the past. Students had to be working in order to qualify for class hours, and so that was a fairly large expansion, as well as how we authorize childcare hours. So now the program will only authorize a minimum of part-time authorization of hours or a full-time. So families don't have varying hours across the whole spectrum of hours that we could authorize. But I just want to draw your attention to the bottom right corner here, where it talks about the July 2023 changes. And so I'll go into those a little bit more. I've got another, I'll switch it over to this. So this is our little infographic that we've got kind of outlining some of the changes for July. Notably, and I won't go reading through this with you guys, we'll have this to share after the meeting as well, so it should go out with the meeting minutes. But in July, some of the main expansions that are happening with the ERDC program is a more protected 12-month eligibility period. So the program moved to 12-month eligibility back in 2015, but there were multiple reasons why a case could potentially close during that time frame. And essentially these changes that will remove a lot of those closure reasons. So cases will remain open. One of the biggest reasons that we see cases close during the 12-month eligibility period is because a family can't find a child care provider. And Oregon, just the state of child care that we've got here, all of Oregon is essentially a child care desert for infants and toddlers. And a child care desert means that there are more than 3 children for each regulated child care slot. So that would be in licensed care. And I believe 2/3 of the counties are child care deserts for preschoolers as well. I can pull up the study, but it's difficult to find care, and it's difficult to keep care, especially if families have varying work schedules or interruptions in their employment. And so this is one of the big reasons why ERDC cases have been closing over the last 8 years. And it will stop effective July 1st. Families will be found eligible, and they can stay eligible until they find their child care provider and get them connected, however long that may take them. Another big reason why an ERDC case might close during the certification period is because the family has lost their job. So the program does have the ability to keep the case open while a family is in job search after they've lost a job. But if the family has no other source of income, a lot of times families will apply for the cash assistance program. And currently right now, there are very few reasons when a family could receive both cash assistance and employment-related daycare at the same time. And effective July 1, we will be changing that. And essentially the TANF Jobs Child Care Program it's a smaller childcare program from ERDC, but that will now be incorporated into employment-related daycare. So any families who are eligible for TANF cash assistance would be able to apply for ERDC, and there are a couple questions that they would be asked in order to meet our federal requirements for the funding source that we use. But apart from a couple questions about immunizations and other things, the families would be found eligible for ERDC. A big change that this is going to mean for families is that they will be able to get childcare established before they're expected to start participating in a jobs plan. So the way the TANF jobs program had worked is that they could authorize childcare, but it was once they had a plan established and a plan in place with the family. This will allow any TANF family to start out with a part-time authorization of hours. By part-time, I mean 25 hours a week is essentially what that covers. And that should allow families the time they need to find childcare, maybe get their childcare provider approved if they're using a license exempt family provider like a family friend and neighbor. And it also gives them a chance to get a routine established so that they can have their child in care, make sure it's a good fit for a family, make sure that the drop-offs and pickups go smooth, and then they can start participating in their jobs plan. So we're very excited about that, excited about the fact that we'll be able to have one program with consistent rules across it for all families that we serve, and that we won't be seeing disruptions in childcare when families move in and out of employment and when they move on and off of the cash assistance program. There is a little bit more to this. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. So with the expansion, some of the things that we've seen with the program is that we've shifted from families only being able to use childcare for the purposes that we've authorized, like for employment or for job search or for class time. And we've seen an expansion to where families can use their childcare hours that are authorized to them to cover family well-being activities. And we don't really define family well-being activities because that's something that varies between families. So it could be going to school conferences, it could be going to medical appointments, it could be for just a variety of reasons. And so that is one of the big changes that we've seen with the program is when families are authorized hours, they are allowed to use them regardless of if it was for their employment or for their education time. So I believe I've covered most of the points on here. Like I said, I will go ahead and send out this infographic, and let me see, I haven't kept an eye on the chat. So I don't know if anyone has questions, you can go ahead and just unmute and ask. Or I'll pop through the chat as well to see if I missed anything.
There is a question from Becky. Can you explain what childcare assistance is available for parents attending school, in class, or online?
Absolutely. So for our schooling requirements, the main thing that we ask for is that the parents or caretakers, they don't have to be related to the children, but the parent or caretaker would be going to a school that's eligible to receive federal financial aid. They don't have to be receiving financial aid, but that's just a way of protection to make sure that there are some predatory schools out there, and this is a good way to help avoid that. The classes that they take, they can be online, they can be in person, either one of those is fine. And it really just needs to be classes that are moving them toward work-related skills and knowledge. So it doesn't have to be a complete degree. They could be taking classes just to help move them up in a job that they have right now. Or it could be something along the lines of taking a GED class at a local community college or something along those lines. For our parents and caretakers that are age 20 or younger, we actually allow them to be attending any high school or GED program. So there's a little bit of an expansion for that high school completion for the younger parents that we have as well. The class time is essentially based off of either their school schedule, or we can use credit hours. we don't always like to use credit hours because sometimes you'll have a 1 credit hour lab that's 4 hours on Saturday. And so it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So we prefer school schedules if they have that available. But we also will automatically add in study time on top of their class hours. So if they're attending class for 11 hours or less per week, they'll get an additional 5 hours a week of study time. And if it's 12 hours or more, they'll get an additional 10 hours per week of study time. I hope that answered the question completely. Like I said, we do allow.
That was great information. I do have a question. Do they have to be working as well while they're attending school to get this grant?
Not anymore. So prior to
Okay.
January 1, prior to January 1, they did, and it was tied to the number of hours that they were working. So, if they were working 10 hours a week, but going to school 15 hours a week, we limited the school hours to 10, but we don't do that anymore. So now they can be non-working students and just attending class. And most definitely we do cover the online only. I know I tried doing my taxes with my kids around, and even the older kids, and that was rough. So we know that it's really difficult to have the concentration that you need when you're also trying to care for kids. So it doesn't matter if they're going in person or online, those are allowed to be covered.
Thanks, Jen. We had another question. How does ODHS plan to fertilize the Oregon Child Care Desert? It's great to have this resource available, but if there are no child care providers, what's a student with a child to do?
There is definitely some expansion work that's happening over at the Early Learning Division. I don't feel like this is necessarily my area of expertise, but as part of the move over to the Department of Early Learning and Care, we're going to be bringing together both the licensing side of the federal funding as well as the child care subsidy side. So the same money that we use for the employment-related daycare program is what's used to run our licensing system in Oregon for child care providers. I really wish I had the information on all the plans that they have for attempts to expand child care opportunities in Oregon, but it can be difficult. And one of the things with the employment-related daycare program that I know I've been looking into is different ways to kind of get the word out that people can use license exempt care. And coming from my own experience, I lived up in the canyon in Mill City Gates area when I had little kids. There was not a single licensed childcare provider in at least a 20-mile radius of my house. So it didn't matter that I had a stable job, I had a stable work schedule, I had childcare is expensive no matter how much you make, but I could have afforded a licensed childcare spot for my children, but I just couldn't make it happen. There was nothing available. So I relied on family, friend, and neighbor care. And that's something where we can pay for family, friend, and neighbor providers through the employment-related daycare program, but a lot of families don't realize it. Even in my time as being a family coach and eligibility worker in the branch offices, I would ask someone who their provider is, and they would say, "Oh, I don't have one." And it's like, well, someone's watching your kids right now. Like, someone's watching them. Who is that? And it's like, oh, that's my aunt. Like, but she's not a child care provider. And it's like, well, does she want to get paid for it? And so that's one of the big things that we really want families to know, that they can use license exempt care. There are supports out there to help them. There are some training requirements that would need to occur for the providers. A lot of the trainings are online, but there are supports through the child care resource and referral agencies to help them get to the trainings that they need, find free and reduced cost trainings to get them listed to receive payment through the state.
Jen, can you put a link into the chat where people can find information on becoming a provider?
Yes, I can.
That would be great. And then there was a request for the information you're sharing today to be sent my way so I can get it out with the email to everybody.
Okay.
Follow up next week.
Will do. And so I only showed one one slide out of the PowerPoint presentation, but I can send the full PowerPoint presentation if you guys would like. It goes through a lot more information about the January 1 changes that occurred, as well as some of the future changes too. So like one change that we're looking at for the child care program in, I want to say it's spring 2024, is that we'll be expanding the program to cover children regardless of their immigration status. And so that is something that is really exciting for the program. We currently can't do it with the federal funding source that we have, so we have to get it programmed into the system for it to flag it to state general funds. So that made it a little more complicated and pushed out the implementation date, but that was another part of House Bill 3073 that went through in the 21 session. So I will pop the link to the child care provider information in the chat, and then I'll get that PowerPoint and the infographic over to you, Misha.
Thanks. Did you give an ETA for when somebody might be able to become a provider who might not be a permanent resident? Did you say when that would be?
Child care providers only need to have a valid tax ID number. So we actually don't look into immigration status because they're not employed by the state. So in order to be a child care provider who can receive payment, they do need to have a valid tax ID, and the direct pay unit does run that through a check with the IRS. But the piece about the immigration status, that's for children who need to receive care. So right
Okay,
now,
sorry.
yeah,
All right.
right now we only look at the immigration or citizenship status of children receiving care. For the program, we don't review for parents because it is a child benefit as well. But the piece about providers, that's the tax ID, and that's a little bit different requirements than for our eligibility.
Okay. I think there might be a couple of questions in chat. If you don't mind taking a look at those and replying back to them, I think we need to move on. So if anybody has any follow-up questions for Jen, go ahead and put those in the chat and she will address them. And if for some reason we can't get to them all, we will follow up later with that information for you. I did see that Connie joined us late. Connie, are you in a place where you'd still like to do your presentation, or would you like to postpone that to next month? All right, I'm not hearing from Connie, so we do have some legislature updates that we are going to provide here. Before we jump into that, Vanessa is on the call today and has an announcement to make real quick before we jump into that. Vanessa. We can't hear you. I'm not sure what's going on. It says you're off mute, but.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, phew. Sometimes my Zoom audio settings get a little squirrely. So thanks for fitting me in, Misha. I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time. I'm actually here today on behalf of Bill Bainey, who's our design and implementation manager, just to ask folks to submit feedback for the second edition of the statewide early learning system plan, and that's called Race Up Oregon. So that plan, you may or may not know, addresses early childhood, so prenatal to age 5, in areas like education, early childhood and care, health, housing, and human services. So ODHS worked alongside 5 other state agencies to put this plan together, which also includes OHA and the new Department of Early Learning and Care. So the draft is now open and available for public feedback through the month of April. And we're just hoping to get many and diverse feedback on that, as it will shape actions of government agencies and improve the lives of young children and families in Oregon. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the details of how folks can provide feedback in the chat, but essentially you just go online. The draft plan is available in multiple languages. There's a video, and then there's multiple ways that you can submit feedback, including a form, an email address, and a phone number. And I'll just mention, it looks like reviewing the draft areas that might interest any one individual and to provide feedback on that is looking like it would take less than 30 minutes. So feel free to share with people you serve as well. This is open to everyone to submit feedback. So that's it for me, Misha. I'll put the details in the chat.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, Maria, I see that you are here. Are you ready to speak to the group?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Klimenko. I'm still relatively new, about 3 months in, and I work with government relations, specifically supporting self-sufficiency as well as VR. And this is my first partner meeting. So more than anything, I wanted to make myself available and quickly give you some updates on a couple bills that we've been putting quite a lot of work into and see if anyone had questions. So our first fiscally significant bill is SB or Senate Bill 610, which is the Food for All bill, which essentially would expand SNAP benefits for the undocumented community. So it's modeled very similarly as Cover All People. And this particular bill came with an incredibly high fiscal. And so how things are looking now is we're likely going to receive a much lower amount of money than what would be needed, which means we would have to have some criteria to prioritize which populations to serve with what's available, which would mean this would sort of work as a demonstration project with the hope to expand on a fuller scale sometime in the future. So does anyone have questions about that particular bill? Okay. And then the other big bill, which has been in collaboration with the Refugee Office, as well as the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Advancement, is House Bill 3176, which would essentially create a welcome and placement program for asylum seekers that is very similar to what refugees receive. So in case you're unfamiliar, typically refugees receive refugee status prior to coming to the United States, and they work with a case manager. They have a little bit of time where they get services such as housing, airport pickup, and a little bit of orientation. And for asylum seekers, typically they apply at the border, which means that while they're waiting for their documentation to be processed, they don't get access to a case manager, housing, or any of the services that might be available to refugees. So we have been seeing a pretty significant increase in refugee, parolee, and asylum seekers, many of whom are coming through the southern border, which really shows us that we need to create an infrastructure to be able to respond to the current need. So we are currently housing about 300 asylum seekers, and the wait list to get into the center is at 65 right now. So those are two pretty significant bills that we've been working on and following this session. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Any questions about 3176? Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I know that in some previous years, we have created some special meeting space to discuss in a little bit more depth some of the legislative updates in the process as it moves through. Just a question for you all, is that an interest to have a special meeting to just really focus on that piece? Because we could create that if that was a need that folks wanted. Not seeing any response right now, but feel free to reach out to me if that's a need. And if it's just a few of you, we can absolutely get you hooked up with Maria, and you can have more of a one-on-one discussion too. All right, thank you, Beth. All right, it's like we have 5 minutes left, so I wanted to make sure there were some great questions coming in about childcare, and I kind of cut it a little bit short because I wanted to make sure we had time for the other pieces. So I want to open it back up in case there's more questions or things that people wanted to ask. I did see there was a question about a postcard size informational for providers and information or something they can put on social media. Is that a piece you can speak to, Jen?
Yeah, Beth, I want to say that we've reviewed that for you at some point in time, but if you want to go ahead and send it through to me, we can check to see about either getting it posted or using it in upcoming mailings.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I was not clear, Jen. I was asking if the
Oh.
agency had something like
Oh,
that you guys did that we could all just sort of put, help spread the word. That one simple little piece, like your friend, your family member, your neighbor doesn't have to be licensed. They could just get signed up to get paid to provide childcare. It seems like that piece of information is having a hard time getting all the way through to folks.
I believe I can check over with ELD, but I believe some of the childcare resource and referrals do have something like that they utilize. But I can't say that I don't know if it's one statewide or if it's just done regionally. So I can check with them to see if there's something along those lines. But yeah, we did some calls to families who had their cases closed because they weren't able to find a provider, and this was a really common theme. It was that they were using care providers that they didn't realize could be approved for care. So yeah, we definitely have some plans on different ways that we can try and outreach. I believe there was some legislation that was kind of moving through about childcare navigators, which would essentially be, I think right now it turned into a work group. So I don't think they're actually funding the childcare navigators, but it's looking into different ways that we can help people connect with childcare in their areas. So like I said, we have the childcare resource and referrals who are really a benefit or a resource to providers to help them get through the listing process with ODHS and to help support them with the licensing process as well. We have 211 info to give referrals to families, but a lot of times finding care is a lot more complicated than that, and people really need some really specific assistance in trying to figure out what their options are in their local areas. So I can't recall the number on that House bill. I know it was a House bill, and I know it turned into a work group where we would be evaluating the possibility of having childcare navigators, either from community-based organizations or possibly within ODHS. I'm not sure which one that landed on, or if it was just open to both.
I'd put a plug in for, despite the fact that maybe navigators aren't actually getting funded, for like signs on buses and TV jam and radio spots, just with that like really simple message and where people can call to find out, because it just seems like that piece, you're right, just like you said, Jen, someone's taking care of their kids, and you know, and for people to know that they could sign that person up to get paid and maybe have like more consistent childcare, seems like it would just be really important. Such a great improvement to the program that you deserve so much credit for. It'd be great for, you know, for lots of people from all different communities to really be able to access it.
Yeah, yeah. And I see a couple comments about 211 info, and definitely with that, one of the things that we're realizing is that a lot of our families and eligibility staff even didn't realize that when families call 211 info, they can get more options. There are some providers who have selected that they don't want their information to be on the public facing, like Find Childcare Oregon site, but they do want to have referrals given out through 211 info. And so we are trying to talk to our eligibility staff to make sure that they're aware that 211 can offer a much more in-depth referral list than if they just go to the Find Childcare Oregon site.
All right. With that, we're at time. It is 2:55, and I want to respect all of your time with the length of our meetings. Thank you so much for being here today. Do feel free to reach out if you have some additional questions. My email's in the chat. It'll also be in the bottom of that listserv email you're going to receive in about a week with all the follow-up information. As a reminder, be on the lookout for that auto-generated email. That means you've been added to the listserv. For some reason you don't receive that, feel free to reach out to me and I will make sure that you are included on that. But everybody in this meeting should be included. So have a great day and thanks so much, and we'll see you again next month.